Housing Wire's Chris Clow reports on some strategic changes that have yielded big results for one reverse mortgage lender. Ryan Ogata has been leading the reverse mortgage division at Rate, which was recently rebranded from Guaranteed Rate, a name you may recognize, for roughly a year, and they have seen notable growth during that time. Rate's HECM endorsements have surged 870% year over year through July. Ogata has noted reverse mortgage divisions being acquired by forward-centric companies. Examples include Cherry Creek Mortgage's reverse division being acquired by Guild Mortgage, and then Movement Mortgage hiring well-known reverse mortgage leaders. But what Ogata has seen are more forward originators that are now looking to originate reverse mortgages, and that brings sales opportunities. This aligns what I originally talked about when I took this role, a market creation opportunity. We're not benefiting from the pre-existing zero-sum game of the reverse space, where companies just take an originator into their employment. We're going out and trying to find customers who maybe wouldn't have considered a reverse mortgage if it weren't for our marketing efforts and what we're trying to accomplish. One thing Ogata has accomplished at Rate is leveraging what he calls the company's forward machine. He said it's arguably one of the most productive sales forces in the entire industry. We're trying to get them focused on the reverse opportunity, how it helps the right buyers and retirees as a good product, and really have them be the sales force that understands reverse mortgages. They need to present it as an option when it makes sense for someone who is age appropriate. When a deal does emerge, an inside sales team will help structure the transaction or the loan, which does benefit from the support-minded approach, says Ogata. Many retired Americans are struggling financially. A recent badcredit.org survey of Americans 65 and older found that while 78% of seniors have retired, more than half, or 59% of them, do not have enough money to maintain their standard of living in retirement. The survey also found that 35% of retirees do not feel financially stable, and 36% have struggled to make ends meet after they quit working. Now, because of this, many retirees today have had to cut back on several common expenses. Top expenses that retirees cannot afford today, as the survey found, is that they don't have sufficient funds to cover many common expenses that occur for anyone, and yes, in retirement. Among those, unexpected emergencies said 63%, travel for 60%, longer life expectancy 49%, living expenses 37%, caring for others such as partners, children, and family members 31%. And 1 in 2 retirees have had to make lifestyle changes due to financial concerns, found the survey. While certain expenses such as travel are nice to haves, an alarming number of retirees can no longer afford unexpected emergencies or everyday living expenses, which we are all going to face. Now, that is typically due to insufficient retirement savings. Unfortunately, this has been commonplace for a long time, said Erica Sandberg, consumer finance expert with badcredit.org. A primary reason is that many people over-relied on Social Security retirement benefits. However, the average monthly check is between $1,700 and $1,900 a month, and very often that's simply not enough to live on. And no or insufficient savings, high housing costs, rising inflation, and expensive medical care to the mix, well, many Americans end up in a terrible financial position at retirement. Living in constant financial stress can take a big toll on retirees, mentally and physically. If you're in a position where you're having trouble covering your expenses, it's time to take action to change your situation. Figure out how much more you need to make ends meet and to enjoy your life, said Sandberg. One way is to add an income stream. As long as you have reached full retirement age, you can receive Social Security retirement benefits, and those earnings will not reduce your benefits. So if you can and want to take on a part-time job or gig work, especially in a field that interests you, go for it. Sadly, the one thing that is not mentioned in this survey or in the article that covers the survey results is the use of home equity or housing wealth to help create cash flow, or many retirees are now suffering for a lack of it. Last Tuesday, the 10-year constant maturity Treasury rate, which is the key index for the HECM, was at 3.82%. And that's a rate we have not seen since December 2023, and the trial that followed the index's fall from a high of 4.98% last October. Overall, the 10-year CMT, or constant maturity Treasury, has trended downward since 2010, albeit we've had some notable fluctuations. Now, in 2020, the CMT, or the 10-year CMT, was averaged at about 0.89%, with a low of 0.52% in the wake of the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Then in 2021, we saw the rate increase. Its average was 1.45% for 2021. Then in 2022, a significant increase was seen, with the rate averaging 2.95% and reaching a high of 4.25%. Then in 2023, the upward trend continued, with an average rate of 3.96% and a peak of 4.98% in October of that year. One company that does track the 10-year constant maturity Treasury rate and also publishes forecasts for the index is the Financial Forecast Center. Founded in 1997, the center leveraged early AI, or artificial intelligence, for manufacturing, and later for modeling and predicting the movement of financial markets. The Financial Forecast Center projects that the 10-year CMT will average 3.97% in September, 3.78% in October, and 3.45% in November, ultimately falling to 2.59% in March of 2025. Of course, unseen events could have a significant impact on those projections. We have a presidential election, a potential war in Europe or the Middle East, or changes in the unemployment rate and the overall economy. Each could have an influence on the key interest rate that is used for the home equity conversion mortgage. Thank you for joining us. That concludes this week's episode. We do have an audio edition of this podcast, which you can listen to and subscribe on Apple Music and Spotify or Podbean. We do have a YouTube channel as well, where we encourage you to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can keep up on all of our latest content from HECMWorld.com. Thank you so much for dropping in, and be sure to return next week for more reverse mortgage news for the mortgage professional each and every week here at HECMWorld.